Welcome to the Lead Pedal Podcast with your host, Bruce Outridge, where he talks all things trucking. Now let's get rolling.
Hey everybody, how we doing today? Welcome to another edition of the Lead Pedal Podcast. I'm your host, Bruce Outridge. This is episode number 1025, and that's right, we're going to give you a little recap of the PMTC conference that we attended back in June 2023. This is always a great conference for private fleets, and we're going to share some of the highlights that were on there. All right, so stay tuned, and we will get back to it right after this. Hey, folks, you know that Bison raised their rates at the beginning of the year for owner-operators and for company drivers. And I got to tell you, it has been so successful that they wanted to let you know exactly how much their drivers are making. That's right, they have significantly increased the base rates for their teams. So owner-operator teams can earn up to $360,000 per year. That's right, you heard me say that right, $360,000 per year. Company team drivers can earn up to $120,000 per year per driver. That's right, per driver. That's some big numbers, right? They have a wide variety of Canada-only dedicated team positions available for folks to choose from, and Bison has a steady freight to keep the teams moving. So if you want to significantly increase your base rates, then you want to make sure that you sign up for that. Now, Bison has also increased the base rates for owner-operators. Owner-operators running Canada only can earn up to $185,000 per year. They have a wide variety of Canada-only positions for owner-operators to choose from, and Bison has a steady freight to keep the owner-operators moving. So where can you learn more about all of these things? I mean, you know, $360,000 for owner-operator teams, $120,000 for company driver teams, and owner-operators running by themselves can earn $185,000 per year. Canada only. Folks, that is incredible. Well, the best place to go is to go to bisondriving.com. And while you're there, while you're talking to the team, would you let them know that you heard about it from the Lead Pedal Podcast? Hey, good luck there. You're going to make some great money working for one of the safest fleets in North America. All right, there you go. And let's get on with some of the stuff happening at PMTC. We had a good time at PMTC this year for sure. We always enjoy our time there. It's a really good conference. People, great companies that are there, great content, and great people just to deal with it in general. So it started off on the Wednesday night. It's a 3-day conference, but it's really almost 2 days. I mean, the first day is kind of a general meeting and a cocktail, and then Thursday's a full day, and then Friday's a half day. So it's really not a full 3-day conference, unless you're a sponsor, and then you're probably busy setting up. So it kicked off with an annual general meeting on June 21st, which is a Wednesday, and they had that for about an hour and a half. That was really good. We heard from Casey, one of the young leaders that actually got a job from, and you probably remember Casey, he was on our show last year for the Young Leaders Group. He was talking about his experience and how he got into the trucking industry and what he's doing now, and he sounds like he's working for a great company. Then, of course, the PMTC, the Young Leaders Group, sponsored the conference cocktail reception. I got to tell you, this was a lot of fun. Unfortunately, when you're doing video, everybody with drinks in their hand is probably not what their companies want to see, but we had a really good time. We actually, this was part of our Lead Pedal 1000 tour as well as stop number 3. And it was pretty cool. So we were going around with our 1,000 sign getting people, and people didn't know. We just throw it in their hand and say, "Hey, hold this." But we had a really good time. So they did a cocktail hour within the room. This was held in Hamilton. This was at the Hamilton Convention Center this year. Different from their normal spot out in Niagara Falls. Like I say, it was a pretty good place. Gave them room to expand. In fact, they were at record numbers this year and looking for record numbers again next year. It was sponsored by TruckRight, was the sponsor of the cocktail hour, and the PMTC Young Leaders as well. And so this is a place for people to get together. It's done in the sponsor area, so you can go around, see the sponsors. Everybody's having a good time. And then afterwards, I got to give a big shout out to Transrep KRTS in the rearview mirror, who sponsored and 10th Street, I think, was in there as well. 10th Street, and they sponsored their own cocktail party at the Gown and Gavel in Hess Village, and which is a great spot. They had a beautiful outdoor patio spot, and Really good there. Thursday, we kicked off with some registration and light coffee. And of course, they start off with the legal update as their first seminar on the docket. May as well get that heavy stuff out of the way. Then they went into an introduction to the PMTC Canadian Benchmarking Survey. Of course, this was sponsored by our friends Ontario Truck Driving School. And one of the things that they do is they like to sponsor this every year. And it's a way of marking where you are against different fleets. It's presented by people in the States and Canada, and was a really good there. They had a Special Olympics. Tammy Blackwell from Truck Ride for Special Olympics made an announcement in the morning about joining the convoy, and that's September 16th this year. So if you want to get involved, go to truckride.ca for that for sure. And then of course they started off with their serious seminars. This one's called Navigating the Employee-Driven Labor Market. It was about how to the kind of things that you can do to improve your team, improve their careers, and then an interesting one about fatigue impairment within motor carriers. And the presenter actually was sharing some of the stuff that happened to him and where he fell asleep at the wheel. And now he's mentioning this to others and making sure that people know about it. PMTC had a Young Leaders Exhibitor Showcase. This was really cool, where they were highlighting some of the people in the Young Leaders. We'll be talking with them in future episodes. And then we ran off into the Hall of Fame awards. And before we get to that, I'm going to share some stuff from our sponsor, who was also for the benchmarking survey, but also Ontario Truck Driving School. And I'll tell you who won the awards right after this. Stay tuned. Hey folks, are you looking to start your career in the truck transportation industry? Ontario Truck Driving School can offer you the training you require. They have been active in the industry since 1978 and have the widest range of training programs and services in the industry. Everything from truck training to heavy equipment. And you know what? Thousands of men and women have successfully obtained employment and began careers operating heavy equipment, trucks and buses with the help of job-oriented training from Ontario Truck Driving School. They work with industry leaders and government offices to make sure that the graduates are successful and complete their training properly. The trainers have years of experience in the industry and know how things work in the transportation and construction business. In fact, truck driving courses incorporate a session with Canada Customs officials, the Ministry of Transportation, and other industry partners to make sure that you are trained properly. This training gives you the advantage of starting your new career as a truck driver. So where do you go? They've got locations all throughout Ontario, and the best way to start is to go to otds.com and look. All right, there you go. I pressed that button too fast. All right, so let's talk about some of the awards that we had going on. This is the Hall of Fame Awards, which are always probably my favorite part of this whole event, sponsored by CPC Logistics Canada. And it was John Harrison was the one who introduced the awards, along with Leanne Drummond. And let's just give a shout out. You're going to hear more of these. Actually, we got them coming up in episode number 1027. So you'll be hearing more from these award winners. But we have, there's 4 Hall of Fame award winners. The first one's Yves Belanger. He's with Linde Canada Incorporated. He's one of the Hall of Fame awards. Then we have Alvin Carter. Alvin with Home Hardware Stores Limited. Had an impressive resume for sure. Dwayne Sick. He's with Linde Canada. And Linde, I gotta say a big shout out to Linde. You guys always have award winners in here. You guys got some serious people in your fleet. Very nice to see. And he was there with his $2. And then we have Grant Taylor with Wellington Motor Freight. And I gotta say, Wellington is again another one of those companies that are really coming up on the forefront and always seem to be in the awards. So we got Yves Belanger, Alvin Carter, Dwayne Sake, and Grant Taylor. Congratulations to them. Now, Stephen Nicholson, he was the one who introduced our Rick Austin Memorial Dispatcher of the Year, and that went to Wallace Green of Grey Ridge Eggs, and he had an impressive resume as well for all of those. So congratulations to everybody there. The Young Leaders Education Bursary went to Nick's Subramaniam of Wellington Group of Companies. Again, Wellington always in the forefront there for sure. And then Udo Udomashi Obiyama. Sorry, Udo. He's one of the Young Leaders Group, and he won the Mohawk Education Bursary. So nice to see him. We'll be talking with him as well in a future episode. Big shout out to all of the supply chain 10th Street Mohawk student engagement programs. Tulupe, Udonomishine, which is he goes by Michael, and you can see why, and then Karina Conde as well. Congratulations to all three of you for being part of that. And then they had a great conversation. If you're ever in a workplace where it's family, a lot of family in there, you know how challenging that can be. And they had a great education about that. Along with, that was called Generational Leadership. I had Mike McCarron and Matt Richardson and a whole bunch more from, so it was very inspirational for sure. Risk Management 201 was a seminar they had in the afternoon there. And then they finished off the afternoon with Eco Driving translates to a safer fleet, and the PMTC KRTS Driver Training Scholarship, which went to, let's see. I just had it, and that was and I even interviewed him, but I've lost my spot here. I was trying to see where he is here. This one to a guy. He's working over at Spring Creek Carriers, and he's already working there, and now he's going to be taking the driving school and getting into that. And that was Max Sundquist. Sorry, I couldn't find Max's name there. Max Sundquist, and he's with Spring Creek Carriers, and we had an interview we interviewed him as well, so we'll be featuring him in another episode. And then they had the chairman's dinner and the Aviva Private Fleet Safety Awards, which was really cool. The next day is the Sunday. The Vehicle Graphics Award is always the big one there. Big shout out to Giant Tiger for winning that one as well. Then they finished off with a couple seminars. One, Transport Canada's update on federal initiatives, and then planning and deploying RNG, hydrogen, and electrification to attain fleet emissions. That was a big one there. And then going beyond the ELD data, and also load securement harmonization for Canada and the US. So we had quite a few things going on there. That was the kind of an overview of the 3 days. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to play for you a snippet of the highlights from that conversation, from that event.
I want to welcome everyone to our first seminar of the conference, and thank you for attending. It's great to see so many friendly faces as we meet in person here for our 2023 annual conference. It was great to catch up with everyone and so many industry friends and meet some new ones all along the way last night.
Thanks, Steve. Great to see everyone here again this morning. Probably a few cobwebs in the brains if any of you are like me, but glad to see you all here today. So in 2016, we made a change to what we do at our conference every year. We used to give out gifts to speakers, and our board made the decision at that time that instead of giving out gifts for the 7th straight year, we've agreed to do it again this year, we make a donation on behalf of our speakers to the Special Olympics. Used to be the Convoy, I guess. Now it's called the Special Ride. We make a donation on the speaker's behalf of $1,500 to the Special Olympics Convoy in your name.
Special Olympics, when PMTC joined our partnership, and it's grown since. We have many member companies also who support us as sponsors. And each year I try to talk a little bit about the truck ride. What's important to know is where this support money goes. And it's in different places, in communities, in provinces, and across the country. But right now, we have 17 Ontario athletes, 198 Canadian athletes in Berlin competing in their World Games at a World Game facility, the actual Olympic grounds. And it is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for them to first qualify, then be allowed this wonderful trip. They have numerous folks that go with them to support them, But we're seeing pictures coming back lifetime. Somebody went out of Calgary yesterday, a gold, and it is like the real deal, folks. And it is one of the, most enriching things you can have in your life. And that is right now, that's World Games. But every day they have practices, they have parks to pay for, and just support workers in general, uniforms all over. So this quick little clip that I brought will show you the difference you make with this contribution in their day-to-day life.
And that's a factor. I think I read as I came in this morning that in the UK, the interest rate was raised again. So this is something we're all keeping our eyes on. And again, of course, warehousing space, from what I can see, appears to be a very sought-after commodity. And so you put all that together and you're looking at a lot of M&A activity, and as they say, if you're either part of it or you're not part of it, I think you're still thinking about it, and it may still be affecting you with regard to your customers, your drivers, and even what's going on in North America.
Over the last 10 years, up until last year, and I think what we saw is the pandemic actually pushed a lot of people into this mode. For the first year of the pandemic, nobody wanted to change jobs. They wanted the security, they wanted the financial stability in their lives. They didn't know what the pandemic meant, and then all of a sudden they realized they could make some serious money by changing jobs, and so that opened the floodgates last year and helped drive up some of the driver turnover. I think the reality has come back down a little bit, and this is a really important number. We don't ask it in our survey here in Canada, but we do in the U.S. And the average onboarding cost for a new driver is going to end up around the $12,000 mark.
We were very much individual specific training, and we had a number of companies coming to us saying, you support this person in their training and development. Do you have something broader, something more holistic? Like, how can we do this on a broader scale? And so we actually have created a couple of endorsement programs. One of them is an Endorsed Logistics Employer program. And that's a program where companies who come to us and say, we're committed to investing in our people, we're committing to training and development, we actually stand behind them and say that they're an Endorsed Logistics Employer, and they get a trust mark, and it's part of their 30-second elevator speech. So every interview that they conduct, they say, we believe in investing in you for training and development. We have a partnership with CITT. We've got a career path mapped out for you. Here are some of the things that we can offer on the training and development front.
Our shift was over. I got to be back in Calgary because the next day I start at 7 o'clock in the morning. So I get behind the wheel of the car and drive. I did that for 4 months. Why only 4 months? Because on my way home one night, I fell asleep. Not dozed off, not did one of these, right? I literally fell asleep. I don't remember anything after that other than waking up on the other side of the road in the ditch. Thankfully, I was okay, but even more thankfully, I didn't impact or hurt anybody else.
Please stand and join me in welcoming our 2023 inductees, Yves Belanger, Alvin Carter, Dwayne Stake, and Grant Toller, to the PMTC CPC Canada Logistics Hall of Fame for Professional drivers.
Wally navigated the transportation division of Grey Ridge Eggs from 4 trucks when he started to 2 terminals, Strathroy and Liswell, and 46 trucks. He kept his drivers due to who he is. Some have been with him for 35 years. The kind of loyalty is earned. That kind of loyalty is earned. He runs a tight ship and works towards efficiency and assets and understanding for the rules of the road. Safety for him is a major factor. We have not had a catastrophic accident, and if you review the CVOR, you will see the rating is consistently excellent. Wally has had a hand in that too. Being a great dispatcher is not reflected in a day or even a year, but his lifetime career is proof that Wally is truly deserving of being recognized and honored as a Rick Austin Memorial Dispatcher of the Year. Please join me in honoring Wallace.
First, I have Tulu Lope right here. He has a Bachelor of Science in Human Kinetics and Health Education. He's also an experienced supply chain coordinator and operations manager. He is currently applying for jobs. He has a big interest in health and safety within our transportation industry, but he is open to other opportunities within the industry as well. Udam Sinachi, who you just met, he has a Bachelor of Pharmacy. He's experienced in logistics, and he's an experienced logistics and analyst. His experience also includes last mile delivery of public health commodities for both cold and non-cold chain. As you heard, his experience with HIV and some vaccine distribution, really inspiring. Karina Conde, she has a Bachelor of Science degree in chemical engineering. She's an experienced procurement engineer in international shipments by land, water, and air. These are just such small snippets of these students' resumes, and really exceptional. If you get the opportunity to come talk to them, please do. And they also deserve a round of applause because yesterday morning they just graduated.
That's great. Yeah, so I'll just mention that BC and Quebec as examples, I think Alberta as well, have their own legislation that's a little bit different than PIPEDA. But if you're anywhere else or you're federally regulated, so like if you're going across provincial borders, PIPEDA is going to apply. So if you're local in BC, you're in that act. But otherwise, pretty much PIPEDA is going to apply.
Well, thanks for that. And the reason why we bring this up is more and more as fleets tend to evolve, underwriting certainly starts to evolve from an insurance standpoint. And what you'll find is that some insurance companies out there would actually use that driver behavioral data to price out your risks. So to sort of future-proof yourself, you want to kind of stay ahead of that curve.
I rely heavily on my network, my 40-year network. I don't believe in national averages. I think far too often we believe we're reading the paper and it doesn't affect you. It's a crazy business, and I think we put too much credence in what the press says. It often does apply to us. And I think today it's easier than ever to stay relevant with LinkedIn and things like that. There's just so much information out there that it's easier than ever to actually stay relevant. It's really how you use that and how you lead the organization. Because I said, I surround myself. I've got a whole team of 40 employees. I like to think 90% of them are smarter than I am on a day-to-day basis. But my job is to take what they give me, what the industry gives me, and chart the course for the next 5 or 10 years.
I like that. Now, Matt, you're the dashing young buck of the group. If you were to give some advice to the old gentleman on the end there, what would it be in terms of the changes that you've seen and how he can stay on top of current events?
I'm not sure for the Boston Bruins, buddy.
Yeah, well, Mike said in the lead up to this I couldn't say anything about cheering for the Bruins, so I'll go with just stop cheering for the Leafs.
I do.
I really don't think I'm in any position to give advice to Mike. I've known Mike since I was a kid, basically.
Since your child labor days?
Since my child labor days, yeah. He was probably encouraging it. So I don't think I'm in the position to do that. And I've always looked up to Mike for the purpose of the panel. If there was going to be any advice at all, it would just be don't change. Mike, I think your passion and what you do to promote the industry is admirable, and the honesty that you tell it with is something that we all should aim for.
Bonuses. This program has been strongly embraced by the drivers and has resulted in significant performance improvements. All of these efforts paid dividends as John Deere's fleet has an incredible CVOR violation rate of only 2.11% and an accident ratio of 2.3 per million kilometers. Congratulations to John Deere Canada ULC on receiving the 2023 PMTC Arriva Fleet Safety Award in the medium fleet category. Another private fleet safety award in the large fleet category, over 75 trucks, goes to Home Hardware Stores Limited. Jason Libralesso, Director of Transportation, Vince Mazanou, Manager Outbound Transport, and Carrie Barkley, Supervisor Dispatch, Durbert, Nova Scotia. Please join me in congratulating Max Sundquist for receiving the PMTC KRTS 2023 Commercial Motor Vehicle Driver Training Scholarship.
And our final category in the Fleet Graphics Award is Tractor Trailer. An award goes to Giant Tiger and Giant Tiger Marketing. Every year I see the Giant Tiger equipment rolling up and down the road. It's quite outstanding. So congratulations, James, to you and your team. We have an honorable mention in the same category for Sleeman Breweries and Raymond and Collins. If anybody's here from... Congratulations. Congratulations to all our participants this year in the graphics competition. That concludes our graphics awards and ceremonies for 2023.
So minor administrative and minor record keeping violations, moderate contraventions, so things like on-duty drive limitations, off-duty requirements, some more serious record keeping contraventions that increase risk, and contraventions that hamper compliance monitoring. And then finally, there would be a tier of severe contraventions, so tampering, falsification, or obstruction, very serious record-keeping contraventions, and the more serious on-duty drive limitations and rest requirement contraventions.
That will allow us to do maintenance on a CNG tractor or a CNG delivery truck, and that has been an issue. We have a lot of new buildings that we're building right now, and they're all being built CNG capable for the maintenance jobs.
But we've had programs combined, so it's a very, very correlated, this one, but there's a lot of opportunity to use the data to drive sustainability, which is what Iona is doing with her ELD solution.
So sometimes when you see straps out there and you're not sure the name, or somebody says, I can make some for you, buyer beware. This is it.
Annette's friend, who you would have saw here last year, she took a week off of her work so she could work for us for the week. So we thank her for helping Annette out to help organize and run this. And the last thank you, of course, goes to Annette, who spends all the time dealing with the sponsors, dealing with the attendees, helping organize, set this up, do the communications ahead of time, as well as deals with me. So thank you. All right, with that, we say we like to end something on time. We're scheduled to end at 11:45 and it's 11:10. So look at that. Thank you once again. We'll see you all here next year, hopefully. Golf tournament in September. May see you again then. Thanks for a great event. Thanks for a great year and your support. So thank you.
hopefully you enjoyed that. That was a really good event. If you want to go check out some of the videos on PMTC, you can go and check them out either on our channel or their channel, and you'll see them there for sure. You can see some of the highlights of what happened there, and we'll be having longer interviews with a lot of these as we go through because they're on different ones. So that's great. So now let's get into we've got a message from our friends over at Driver Verified. Hey folks, today's driver industry is changing like crazy. There's no more paper resumes or applications for you to fill out. Nowadays, it's all online profiles, and the big companies just pull right from the ministry offices to make sure that the documents they're getting are official. So why not make sure that you're official and in control of your work history? That's where Driver Verified comes in. All you have to do is go to driververified.com and create your own profile. You can create a profile, you can put your awards in, you can put pictures in, you can put your resume up there, and you know what? It is searchable. It's searchable by the insurance industry, it's searchable by the carriers, and it's searchable by you. You can send people a direct report. It's free to set up. You don't pay anything unless you start sending out reports. And you know what? The companies will even pay that for you probably anyway. But you can do this on your own. If you're a driver, an owner-operator, a company, or an insurance broker, then this is for you. Go to driververified.com, create your profile today, and get yourself in command of your documentation so that you know your work history and you have something that's presentable to the industry. And you know what? When you're talking to them, tell them the Lead Pedal Podcast sent you. All right, my friends, driververified.com. That's where I'd go. Bye for now. All right, there you go, Driver Verified. Hey, and you know what? Make sure that you attend the next PMTC conference. It's going to be in Hamilton again in 2024. Go check the dates. It's actually the same. I think it's just by a weekend or something, a week there. So go check out pmtc.ca. They've got golf tournaments. They got all kinds of stuff happening as well. Go check them out. Mike Millian, Annette, and the whole team do a great job there. And you'll really enjoy it. If you're a private fleet or you work with private fleets, you certainly want to be there. And of course, we're Lead Pedal Media. We'll keep bringing on the information and coverage for you so you can see it, even if you missed it. Anyway, hope you enjoyed that, my friends. Follow us on social. We're on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. You can find us on LinkedIn and TikTok. And I hope you're having a great day. Check us out on our Lead Pedal 1000 tour. PMTC was stop number 3. We've had to change stop number 4 because it was supposed to be in Iowa. We've decided not to go there. So we will now be changing to another stop. So Great Canadian will be stop number 4 for us on July 22nd. Okay, my friends, talk to you later. Be good, and bye for now.
This has been another episode of the Lead Pedal Podcast. For more information or to subscribe to the podcast, visit theleadpedalpodcast.com and be sure to follow the podcast on Facebook and Twitter.